All right. Let's bring us into the SANDCAST podcast here.
Bring it in, baby.
You are here with us. Thank you for joining us.
I love your introduction.
Sponsored by Wilson, the best volleyball on planet Earth. Speaking of best things on planet Earth, Hawaii is the best things on planet Earth. And the water that comes from Hawaii is Waiakea volcanic Hawaiian water.
Not just Hawaii, that's a volcano.
Take a sip, Trav. Let the people hear it. Look at that. He didn't even have to fake it. That was authentic.
Pure natural.
Nice. Here you go for people watching on YouTube.
And I'm feeling good, too, because I got my athletic greens in this morning. Not about you, Trav.
I get the AG in every day.
Yeah. Just
Funny, people ask me if I actually like this stuff. And you traveled with me.
I did.
You know, it's literally every day.
He uses it every morning. It's real.
Look, our guest here uses it, so you should probably be using it. Now I got to intro you because I learned before the show that this guy was in high school when he first started listening to the SANDCAST podcast.
Yep.
Went through college, and now he's playing pro on the court with us, and he's a guest on the SANDCAST podcast for the second time. Tim Brewster.
Thanks for having me.
What's up, brother? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be in the studio. It's
Yeah,
pretty sweet.
It's good to actually feel the vibes. Last time you were on video, right? Was it video?
No,
Zoom?
No, last time we were in Israel.
You were both there in Israel.
there,
Okay.
Tel Aviv, which is, I think, still the coolest trip I've ever taken.
Me too.
For volleyball.
That was pretty incredible.
Really?
Israel's amazing.
I've heard good things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tel Aviv is sweet. Tel Aviv is actually, it's Tyler Hildebrand's favorite city he's ever been to.
Because he played pro
Yeah.
in Israel, yeah.
Well, when you're the starting setter of the best team in the country, I'm sure
Yeah.
they treated him nice.
Yeah, and that's, me and Tim, we got the first glimpse of Sam Kodafava in the quarterfinals there. I
Yeah.
remember Tim looked at me and he's like, don't serve the lefty. And I looked at Sam, and Sam's like, I don't know, 6'3", 120 pounds.
Yeah.
He's like a broom
Skinny,
handle.
yeah.
And then he hits this ball in warm-ups, and he was just like, poof, poof. And I was like, all right, we'll serve.
Yeah,
we'll
he's
serve
got that
left-sider.
contact
Yeah.
point.
Damn.
I'd played him once before and got wrecked by him, and I was like, yeah, he's not touching the ball.
Yeah.
He was gnarly back then. Now he's freaking crazy good.
When he
but-
first played at Nikolai, I was like, okay, he's picking up some young guy. And then we played him in Rosarito, and I don't know. In my head, I was kind of assuming he was going to be dumb and young and whatnot. And then he came in for that quick inside ball. I was like, oh, that was interesting. And he kept going for it, and it kept going farther and farther away from me. I was like, what is this guy doing? And then we actually started blocking it, and I was like, there's the young dumbness that comes with a young player.
Yeah.
But then we played him again at World Champs, and he just shredded us. I was like, all right, he's legit.
Yeah, he's really good. Lefty too, gnarly.
Yeah, lefty.
Heavy arm.
Heavy arm,
he started playing in the clutch. His first. I think Rosarito is probably his first big tournament with Nikolai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a few swings there that they didn't play together too well that match either way, but.
You guys beat them, right?
By Yermala. Didn't they win Yermala?
Yeah, out of the quali.
So halfway through the year, they had already won an Elite 16, and then now he's a top guy.
Yeah. He's got to be in the running for, I don't know how Rookie of the Year works. He's got to be.
For
never
sure.
know.
Is
You
there
never
anyone
know.
else?
I mean, are the Swedish kids?
No, they've been around, I feel like.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
What is around? I don't
the
know.
Chileans.
true.
Grimals?
They kind of.
Droguit?
No, yeah. The
And
Chileans I would
Irvine.
kind of classify as nobody's a rookie. Nobody
Yeah.
just
It's hard to
shows up
say.
for the first time. Because if you were playing challenge or let's say futures, you should still be a rookie if you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
'cause
maybe
that's part of
maybe
it.
that should be the threshold of breaking through from futures to challengers.
Yeah.
Once you're in the Challenger Elite
Yeah.
16 pool.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But then it's how many? Because I had this problem when I
Right,
was trying
that's
to
a good
figure out the
point.
Rookie of the Year for the AVP. Because Julia had made a main draw before. I was like, but she's still a rookie.
Yeah. Doesn't the AVP have a rule on it? It's 4.
I don't know.
You have to have played 3 or
Yeah.
4 in the past.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody told me that. I don't know how.
Sander could be kind of.
Sander was definitely a rookie.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
I'm talking about for FIVB.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a rookie for sure. But maybe would he be in that conversation based on how
I
well they
don't think
did?
so.
I feel like
'Cause they didn't do much.
Sam is.
Oh, for sure, Sam
far above
over
that. Yeah.
I'm just saying if Sam's not in there, the Grimault. I'm sorry, the Chileans.
The young guys.
The
The
Grimalts
junior
have been
Grimalts.
around as long as I have. Yeah. They seem like rookies. We'll see, I guess, right?
Yeah, we'll see. But you were in the discussion. It was kind of unfortunate that you were in the same. You made your breakthrough the same year that Taylor Sander was like, "Yeah, I'll come play beach." 'Cause
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
have been like rookie of the year had Sander not done that.
Oh,
I mean, Jake had a good year too. You know, Dietrich.
Yeah, but you played so much more than Jake.
True.
Was my rationale for
that's
that.
true.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
true.
I mean, there's no beating Taylor Sander for that this year.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
well,
Just-
he's a 30-year-old two-time Olympian
Yeah.
coming out. It's kind of
He got-
30,
I think
31?
he's still in his 20s.
Oh wow.
No, Sander?
I thought he's like 29.
I have no
Maybe 30.
idea. I thought he was in his 30s.
Well, he's Taylor Crabb's age, I believe he's 30.
Okay. So like
So, yeah, whatever.
late 20s, early
Yeah.
30s. Yeah. He got used to the beach real quick.
Yeah, well, he also grew up playing beach, right?
Uh-huh.
Like,
Yeah.
he used to play in a lot of the youth tournaments and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot more than a lot of the beach players, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Well, not this guy. I mean, you've been playing.
Not you.
When
Yeah.
did you start playing beach?
I started playing beach when I was, the first time I ever played beach, I was 12.
Okay.
I did like a St. John Smith, Randy Stoklos beach
I
camp.
did that.
Really?
They came to Hawaii once, and I did
Oh,
one.
cool. Yeah, so that's how I started playing, was in 2012. I did one of those in Malibu and then thought it was fun or whatever. And then my family and I went to the London Olympics to watch just
Nice.
for fun,
Yeah.
for vacation. And the only tickets we ended up getting were beach volleyball.
Uh-huh.
And I saw Misty and Carrie play and Sean and Jake play.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's when I really got into it. And then I joined a beach club when I was 13. And that's how I really got into it. I was one guy with only girls. And
Yeah,
then,
I
like
was
a
gonna
couple
say
other
that-
guys came in.
I was going to say, it was not like beach club wasn't even a thing.
No,
really.
it was pretty much all girls.
Right.
The Partains would hop in here and there.
Says a lot.
down the road, but yeah, that's when I started playing. And then my first tournament was when I was 13, and then my first full summer was 14 years old.
Okay.
Just crushing CBVAs left and right. That was a crazy year. I probably played close to 30 or 40 tournaments
I bet.
because they have juniors tournaments during the week, and so you could play 4 tournaments in 1 week.
That's wild.
Yeah. It was really cool, really fun. I
Yeah.
played with probably like 30 different kids that summer, and yeah.
Did you end up running into Miles Partain ever yet on the AVP?
Yeah,
I can't remember
my
if you played each
first
other.
my first main draw match.
First match.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I lost. But yeah, my first main draw was Fort Lauderdale this year, and
Okay.
we played Paul and Miles in the
Okay,
first
gotcha,
round. Yeah, we weren't supposed to play them, and then was it Phil that? No, somebody dropped out. Casey dropped out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey had his kid.
Right.
and then the
yeah.
whole bracket changed, and so we played Miles and Paul.
Nice.
yeah.
That's cool. The 2 kids from the beach club.
Yeah, we played a tournament together when we were, I think, 15. I was 15, he was like 13 or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I grew up playing with his brother, Marcus.
Okay. Yeah.
He and I played like a full summer together.
And you guys are the same age?
Yeah, Marcus and I are like a month apart.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's Marcus doing these days?
He just got a job.
Oh, so he's going in the real world?
He's
Okay.
down in San Diego. I forget exactly what he's doing. I think it's like a software computer company.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he was going to go back, I think, to play at UCLA again, do a 5th year, but decided he got this great gig and wants to
on.
play a bunch of beach again. He's back into it. So
How is his
that's
game?
cool.
I know that he and Miles were like the shit in terms of like young guys
Yeah.
qualifying at a young age.
Yeah.
But I never really heard of him much
Just-
on the beach after that.
Super ball control-y.
Mm-hmm.
Set's great. So he just does everything really well. He doesn't have the heat that Miles does. But
he definitely, I think he used to. Like when we were younger, like Marcus could hit the ball pretty good, and he
Yeah.
still does. But he had a back injury when we were young,
Like,
and so he's been
Oh, that's right,
he's been
yeah.
fighting that
I
for
actually
3
talked to him
years.
about that a while back. Just give him some advice because I had the same thing.
Oh, really?
When I had no heat at all. I mean, relative to
Right.
the level I was playing until like maybe my second year pro is when I
Okay.
started hitting hard. I had to like change my
Interesting.
mechanics a little, but I also put on like every year it was like 3 pounds, 4 pounds. So I'm like 20 20 pounds more muscle by the time I'm at that point in my career versus like when I came to college.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that can change.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure.
And back injuries, like, yeah, you
Not
change your
fun.
whole mechanics because you don't want to twist anymore, or you don't want to arch.
You don't want to like hyperextend.
So now you're doing all this weird stuff with your body. I used to like have a really weird technique. They used to call it the starfish. I just contact really high and just, I don't know, it looked like the jump man pose, you know, where the legs are open.
Oh, really?
I have photos of it. But it was just like, that's just how I play my game. I just reach high and chizzy, like drop shots. And But like when you're trying to put down like 20 kills in an indoor match,
That's
just
not
not
going to
gonna
cut
work.
it.
But
Yeah.
when you're the OH2 and you just pass and cover and do all the other things, and then you put away, like, 8 of your 11 sets or whatever, it worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Interesting. I mean, it'd be cool to see him come back out and maybe like, his core got stronger and his body kind of just adapted now that he's older.
Definitely like ready to like full go again. He played with Miles in Seaside this year and they got a third.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Miles
So
is full-time blocking.
Yeah. He was running up.
It's incredible.
That guy's another breed, huh?
Yeah.
I love that kid. He's so good.
He was like, Marcus and I beat up on him for maybe like a summer. When we were like 15, he was like 14, and that quickly changed.
So he could just hang almost right
Oh yeah,
away.
I mean he and Marcus have been playing forever, and he could always hang.
Yeah.
But like for like a year or two, like Marcus and I, like I think we were a little older, like we could take it to Miles when we wanted to. It was always weird playing with Marcus against Miles because Marcus is like, I don't want to lose to my little brother.
Right.
But yeah, Miles got good really fast. Like when Miles got good, it was like, all right, we gotta watch out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is he? What separates him? Like he's just got this obsession over the game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's like one of the like craziest thinkers I think I've ever met. Like the questions that he comes up with. Like even when we were young, like he would be like, all right, Tim, like what do you think about this way to set? And then what about this way to set? And he'd show you like 6 different things that didn't look any different to me, but they felt different to him. And so I think he's just super like inquisitive. He's always trying to figure out new things.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know I talked to Spencer McLaughlin, was his the assistant coach for Sprout at UCLA, and he was like, dude, the guy will send us texts like in the middle of the night kind of thing or something like that where they're just getting long texts or emails or whatever thoughts from him because his brain just never stops.
Yeah, that's
like,
Miles.
Go to sleep or whatever,
Yeah, that's how Miles is. That's how he's always been.
But that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of the stories you hear about some of the greats, where they're just hyper obsessed in a way that nobody else can match because it's like you can't obsess over the game in that way. Yeah, you can't, exactly.
And,
true.
And Miles, he just seems to have it. Because I remember I practiced with Miles. We picked him up and drove down to like Long Beach. I think this was during COVID. And
was with me, right?
Closed. Yeah, it might have been us and
Garrett Roberts.
Garrett Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Miles, like, afterwards, he sent me a video of him. He's like, I know you like doing that sort of no-look line shot that you pointed out that you do, that Tri does. And he's like, it's really good, like, when you're trying to full blocker, but you can't get, like, all the power in. So what if you just, like, have it and then you open up your shoulders? And this is, like, a full video. And he's like, this is what Scott Davenport said, and it really worked for me. And I was like, you are the greatest kid. And
Wait,
he's
what?
just like, so for line swings,
Yeah.
like, because I'm on the right side, and so I'm facing, like, this way. And I was like, just no look
Oh.
it. And he's like, what if you open up when you do swing? Because you can get more power on it.
Yeah. And, dude, that's funny you say that. I was in the bench in Phoenix. It wasn't against them, but before the match, we didn't have a coach, so Chris Crabb was in our bench. And he said, playing great. Hey, that low line swing's great, but turn with it and look when you hit it. When you do it with no look, they block it.
Oh, interesting.
We were up in the first set, and I'm feeling myself. I'm up high, like jumping well. I give it a no-looky cookie, and Theo blocks it low. And then we lose the set and, like, blow the lead. And then the same thing. Hey, that's that no-look low line.
Yeah.
Your no-look line is disgusting.
Really, no, it's good.
Yeah. I remember Jeff Alzina used to talk about that.
Well, that was my, like, days when I didn't have the any heat to my game. That was it. I just sell angle and then give me just a little elbow, anything. I just chizzy. Like, ask Riley, who's my setter for years.
Yeah.
I just chizzy the ball. You give me 6 inches, give me no inches, just same thing. No look, right off the elbow. But I've noticed that Chris Crabb was right about that
really
one time. Because if I do follow with it, I sense the block coming with me or not. And if they're not coming with me, I'm going to Yahtzee it. If they are coming with me, then I make that last second adjustment where I'm like, hit it off, hit it off their hand or go a little higher or something. But interesting you brought that up.
Yeah, Jeff used to talk about that when I worked with Jeff in like 2018.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you want to watch a player who has like unlimited crossbody, he's like, watch Try. I think it might have been your first tournament back in Manhattan with Trevor. Was that your first tournament back after
Manhattan? Yes. Yeah. It was.
So it was there. Yeah. He's like, got to watch this, and you were just like cranking these like fast low lines. It's like that's gnarly.
Yeah. I've also noticed like when you let the ball come further across your body, like the block's already up, right, and they can't really reach, and your contact point changes. So if you like let the ball get above your head and you're kind of like here now, you can't block it. And a guy who used to do that really gnarly is Pedro Salgado or Solberg. And when I first came out on tour, I remember I blocked him a bunch because I was like, oh, I know that trick. That's my thing. And I talked to actually like, it was a cool moment because Phil asked me about it. He's like, dude, how do you block Pedro so well? Like, nobody can block Pedro. I was like, when he hits this line, when he hits line, he lets it drift all the way to his left shoulder. So you have to be ready for that because the contact point changes. He's not coming from in front and back down. It's coming all the way. And it's just so hard as a blocker to read that. And then when he hits angle, he's cutting it off in front. So now the fan is huge rather than like from here and from here. But, yeah.
That's interesting.
Alzina, I like that name drop. I haven't seen him in a while. I love that guy.
I haven't seen Jeff in forever.
He's in Santa Cruz, right? Just living life.
Yeah.
Coaching Santa Clara.
Yeah.
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara. Yeah.
Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, is that the same thing?
I think Santa Clara is like next to Santa Cruz,
okay,
right?
SoCal, for sure.
They're close to each other.
It's in that half of California.
The upper half.
I've always wanted to go to Santa Cruz. Like, just check it out. It used to be
Santa
like
Cruz
a legendary
cool.
beach town.
Yeah.
Or a beach volleyball town.
It's supposed to be great surf up there, too. I'm surprised you haven't been there.
It's freezing.
A lot of sharks. A lot of sharks.
Speaking of sharks, did you see Zana's story in the Maldives?
That's crazy.
I heard that.
I told her don't fall in. That's bad.
We have a rogue Naya out there.
Naya's running around in the backyard.
But you are not in the Maldives because you were busy winning gold medals, which congrats. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that you won your first international medal, and then you go bam, bam, just 2 golds in a row.
Yeah, Norseca's been fun this year.
No kidding.
Yeah. It was a really fun 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Kyle and I played some good volleyball. Beat some solid teams, too, along the way, which was awesome. But, yeah, it was nice to get our first wins. Because I got that second with you in Cuba this year, which was my first real international medal, so to say. And then Kyle and I had a great domestic season, but we had never gotten the win. We've had a bunch of seconds and thirds this year, so it was really nice to get 2 wins back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won one with Andy.
Yeah, true.
I mean, was that like would you consider that your first win?
Yes. Yeah, that was my first big win with Andy in San Antonio this year. That was a gnarly tournament, too.
No kidding.
And that was super fun. And that was kind of right when I was like, we had just stopped playing.
Yeah.
So I like wasn't really sure what was happening. And I had just had a really bad tournament the weekend before. And so I was like...
That was in La Paz?
La Paz, okay. Yeah. I'd played horrible in La Paz. And so I was like... I wasn't happy with volleyball at the time. And so then I got Andy for that. And I was like, all right, like, let's just give this a go. Like, have fun with it. Like, Andy had just won Austin the weekend before. And I was like, all right, so there's some pressure here. Because if I can't win this AVP next with Andy, like, yikes. But I ended up playing really well that one. And Andy was cramping in the finals, which was I'd never had a partner like cramp in a big match before.
Yeah.
And he was chugging beers to try and get through it. I was like, I don't know what to do
You're
here,
like,
bud.
what about electrolytes?
We tried everything, and his quad was going.
Oh.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. He was in pain. After the match, he was on the ground for like 30 minutes.
Oh.
In a funny way, though, I think it makes that win for you better. Because you couldn't lean on Andy.
Yeah.
Like, you did it. Not by yourself, but like, you were not... Andy passed it, and you took it
which
from
was
there.
funny that they started serving Andy, because I was like, even with him cramping, I feel like they're still going to serve me.
Yeah.
And they started serving Andy, and I was like, all right, well, here we go. He's like, you have to hit it on two, Tim. You got to hit it on two. So the last like 6 or 7 side outs were all just like rails on two, just trying to with an occasional poke back.
Line backs, probably.
my favorite shot, the little poke back line. A few of those, and just like some random swings into the angle, and got it done. But that was so that was my first big win.
Yeah.
Which technically would have qualified me for my first main draw, but with the rules.
Yeah, what was that? Was that like kind of a bittersweet thing, or was it just pretty much all sweet? Because I mean, that's a huge win.
Yeah,
you beat AVP Next, whatever. It was a tour series.
Yeah,
like it was a qualifying series.
Yeah.
Rephrase
that. Yeah, I mean, there was a little bitter to it. Like I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
Did I watch New Orleans? No. I couldn't do it to myself. Like I wanted to be there, and like I just shown that I felt like I could be there.
Right.
You know, that was my first time where I was like, I think I can hang with these guys. And so I was like, all right, I just can't watch this and gotta move on.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of unknowns at that point too, because I wasn't going to be playing the season with Andy, obviously.
Right.
And I had no idea what was next.
Yeah.
I didn't have a partner for anything else the rest of the year.
Yeah. And then you and Kyle
came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We talked with Kyle about it, but I'm always interested in like the other side of like how it went from your end. Because when you guys got together, I was like, oh, like super scrappy team. I was like, but Kyle hasn't blocked in a long time.
I mean, I had texted Kyle a couple times throughout the years, just like, hey, if you have any interest in blocking, I'd love to play a tournament with you. I think I texted him about like maybe a Norseca qualifier here or there, maybe like a 1-star. But he never said yes. And so it's like, you know, he wants to be a defender. Probably never going to play with him.
Yeah.
And we ended up practicing after San Antonio a couple times against each other. And that was when he was playing with Joyner. And I was still kind of like looking for people. And I'd be like, hey, like if you're ever interested, like I'm open.
Yeah.
And after Muskegon, he texted me like, hey, could be interested. Like, what are your thoughts? And we were both juggling actually the same guy at that point.
Lev.
Yeah.
Lev love triangle.
The Lev love triangle. So we were both talking to Lev about playing.
That guy, I just
so
jumped in the water this morning, and I'm walking out of the water, and he just starts pointing at me. Hey! And I'm like, what's up, buddy? And I'm walking, but he doesn't stop pointing. He just keeps pointing.
That's hilarious.
Like, this guy's pointing at me for like 30 seconds while walking on the strand. And then he's like, you want a coffee? Come to my house. I'll give you an espresso.
Mm-hmm. He's
And I was
big on
walking.
the
I was like, I gotta go
espresso.
pick up my daughter. He's like, real quick, I'll get you an espresso. I'm like, okay. Made me out of his window. It was like a little coffee shop. Gave me an espresso. I walked up to my house.
That guy is
Anyway,
that
that's
guy is
a new,
hilarious.
He will be good on the podcast.
Oh my god.
Give him to
he's
Savvy.
so funny.
Oh yeah, Savvy will do something with him.
Yeah. Man, he's hysterical.
All right, so where were you in that
Okay.
story? Sorry.
So we were both talking to Lev about playing in, I think it was Denver and Wapaka.
Mm-hmm.
And I somehow figured out that Kyle was also talking to him. And I was like, he's going to run us around here until the last minute. And we're not, one of us isn't going to get a partner.
Uh-huh.
So I texted Kyle. I was like, you want to play? He's like, you know what? Let's do it. Why not? Like, we'll commit for Denver and Wapaka, which were both tour series. And then I assumed that would be it. I'd assume he'd go back to defense. I had zero expectations about us as a team, but it ended up working out really well.
No kidding.
Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a weird start. We played a CBVA, our first tournament together, weekend before Denver, and we got a 5th. And so after that, I was like, all right, yeah, we're okay. We're nothing special.
CBA can be weird because sometimes the pools just match up funny.
Yeah, we lost to
Yeah.
Jake and Hagen, so it's not like we lost to a bad team.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was definitely wasn't sure about how it was going to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, we did the first practice we ever had. We played Sean and Logan, and we kind of took it to them.
Yeah.
So I knew we could play well, but definitely not how well we've played this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denver, what a funky way for you to qualify for your
Yeah.
first AVP. Was that like the most like anticlimactic
for sure.
cool moment?
It was so
Your career?
anticlimactic. It was, well, we kind of knew. I had checked the bracket, and I knew if we won our last match on Saturday
Yeah.
that we would qualify because we were the last match of the day. Our bracket had gotten super behind. So I knew how everything stood, and I knew the rules with the trickle down. So I knew if we won that we were going to qualify.
Yeah.
So like in that sense, like we won, and I was really excited.
Okay.
But it was also it's not for sure, and sometimes AVP does weird things, and you just you
Right,
don't.
yeah.
So and I think I had asked John King right after we won that match, hey, did we qualify? And he's like, I don't know. You got to play tomorrow. And I was like, oh God.
He's like, depends if they make up a wild card. randomly.
Exactly right. You just never know.
Right.
And so it was weird. It was definitely weird. I didn't think I'd qualified until the list came out. Until the list came out, I wasn't sure that I'd qualified. And then I was really happy.
Yeah, because me and JM, we didn't figure it out. We got there the next morning, and Joyner comes up to us. He's like, dude, congrats. We all qualified. And we're like, hold on. Let's do the math real quick. And we're like, oh, yeah, we did. Because Denver was funny. Denver was the most loaded tour series. Because, Rafu and Dave Palm were there. Evan and Logan, or Evan and Bill at the time. Miles
Logan and
Lottie,
Sean.
Andy Benish and Miles Evans, Logan and Sean, all these
Oh,
teams who were automatically into events anyway.
Oh, got you.
And so Tim and Kyle got seventh?
Seventh,
And
yeah.
so their bid trickled all the way down to that.
Got you.
And me and JM got fifth, and we were like, I think we're in. So
That was one of the gnarliest days of volleyball I've ever played, though. In Denver, we played 5 matches on Saturday
at altitude.
at altitude, and it was hot. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, we had everything.
It was dusty.
It was dusty. It was hot, and then it got cold and started raining.
Yeah.
In one of our matches, and then it got hot again. That was the most dead I've ever been after a day of volleyball. Because with tour series, how it works is if you don't have a bye, well, if you lose in the first or the second round, you get bumped back to the first round of the losers bracket, no matter what.
Oh.
So winning your first one doesn't really do you that much good.
The second round, man.
The second round is huge.
To play.
And we drew Miles and Paul in the second round.
Oof.
And we gave them a really good match. We played really well, but they beat us.
Yeah.
And so that was our second match of the day. And we're like, all right, 3 more to make it to the next day. And 3 of them went to 3 that day. So we had 3 3-setters, 2 2-setters.
And you beat good teams.
Yeah.
You beat Ed Rowledge and Chase Frischman.
No, I didn't do
right?
that.
No? Who beat them? Was it
Vaughn? And then we beat
Okay.
Vaughn. Yeah. So we beat Vaughn that day. We beat Angel and Diaz.
That's a good win.
Diego and Hoppy.
That was your last one, right?
Yeah, that was the one to qualify. And that was a barn burner.
Yeah.
And then we beat TJ Jerko and Dylan Zaka also.
Okay.
So those were our wins that day. And then we took Logan to Sean to 3 the next.
Okay.
Naya.
Now he's got clothes on now.
Yeah. My kid's playing offset.
Putting on a show.
Yeah.
But yeah, Denver was an interesting one. But it was the first one that showed Kyle and I that, okay, I think we could be good. And that's what triggered us keeping playing together, because then it qualified us for Fort Lauderdale. And then Atlantic City was before Fort Lauderdale. It's well, we should play that to get ready. And
yeah, you had some, a lot of interesting sort of I can do this moments where, even though we didn't really beat anyone good in Cuba, I feel like just being, getting a medal is probably kind of one.
Getting the stipend for the first time.
Getting the stipend is solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go to Cuba for free, it's pretty great.
It's funny how
Pretty
there's
great.
so many small victories on the
for
journey
sure.
towards whatever, a big goal. It's just yes, I did that. I know.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, collecting your first paycheck as a professional, or just wearing the USA jersey for the first time, or those small things that are just so huge at the time.
Super cool.
And then 10 years down the road, however far down the road I am, you forget about it. And you're like, oh yeah, that's a really big deal actually.
Yeah. You hear somebody else talk about it and you're like, oh yeah, that is
was a
cool.
really
That
big
was
deal,
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had you got the medal, and then you won with Andy, qualified with Kyle, and it was just you just kept stacking and stacking, and then holy cow, Tim's in the quarterfinal of a Gold Series.
That was cool. That was really cool. We had a few there were a few big wins throughout the season that were really cool. Like Atlanta was like my first main draw win. And I had always said like when I qualified, like I didn't want to be that guy who qualified a bunch and then just never won in a main draw.
Yeah.
Because you see that happen, right? Like
Totally.
you see guys that just like have been in the qualifier grind for years and they kind of just get stuck in that like, we qualified, but maybe I win a main draw match here and there.
Yeah.
And so like one of my goals was like when I qualify, like I really want to be able to win. And Fort Lauderdale went tragic. I was so bad. I was so nervous. Like I just played bad. I blew 2 giant leads in our match against Piotr and Tim. So it's like, can't do that again. Can't do that again.
But it's good that you had like the awareness to think that way, because that could be why people get stuck in it. You know, they see it as such a victory just to get there that they're just like, well, now I'm here. Yeah. And they just kind of get stuck in that. You're like, okay, made it. Now time to move on. And that first loss like really hurt you just based on how you played more so than the loss probably. And then that kind of like boosted you to play better the next one.
For sure. And I think it also helped that when I went into Fort Lauderdale, I think I'd already qualified for 3 main draws. I'd qualified for Fort Lauderdale, Manhattan, and Atlanta already. So I knew that I had two more after Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. And so it was like, all right, I've qualified 3 times now, and I hopefully can qualify more times this year. Like, let's get some wins. Yeah. And in Atlanta, when we beat the Taylors, that was pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, that was my first.
That was my first main draw win. Yeah,
no kidding.
It was against the Taylors.
We had the whole players tent like peeking out. Like,
because it was next to the tent.
Tim's about to take down the Taylors right now.
It's happening. That was a crazy game. We were down 12-8 in the third.
Oh really?
Yeah, down 12-8 in the third. Went up 13-12. Taylor Sander blew a side switch. He like hit 2 balls out. Kyle stuffed him twice, and then he rolled me a ball. We're like, all right, we're back in this now. And then it went back and forth. They got the lead back at one point. But yeah, that was pretty sweet.
I mean, that's when the fans start walking over to the other match.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah. So that was my first big win, which was cool. And then we got a win against Hayden and Logan that tournament also.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, so I know I can hang, so like let's keep winning.
Yeah. How much do you think would you credit just the amount of time you spent around Tri and Trevor and Jose? Because not a lot of people who qualify for their first time have seen that level as close as you have for so long. Like you've seen the best at work all the time.
Sure.
And you've been in with them. I feel like that had to have been a very good help for you to make that transition as well as you did.
Definitely. I mean, when I was younger practicing with these guys, I was like shaking in my boots. I remember when Jose, because I had been working with Jose since I was 15.
Yeah.
And so
Jose knew what he was doing this whole time, like throwing you in there, like talking trash to you since you were like 15 years old.
Jose can be brutal, especially he's like an uncle to me. I've known him for so long, and so he doesn't have a filter, and so he'd get on me pretty good, and he'd always get on me extra hard when other people were around.
Oh, for sure.
So like when you guys weren't around, he wasn't like that with me, but when you guys were around, he was like, "Come on,
you see that try? You see what he's doing? He's got to go harder, right?"
Yeah. And then he would put me in these like crazy drills. This one sticks out to me. It was just you and I at a practice, and it's when he was experimenting with like the mini ball.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it was like, all right, so you can't, if you hit the ball out, you go back to 0. You got to get your 21 points or whatever. And he's like, he didn't tell us he was going to throw the mini ball in. And then we get to 20. He's like, mini ball, Tim. And he throws me the mini ball and tri-sets me. And I whale this thing like 20 feet out of bounds. And I was like, he goes back to 0. You just ruined it for try. And I was like, oh my God. Stressful. So stressful.
100%. Yeah. And I kind of like was aware of this the whole time, like what Jose was kind of doing. It was like, you're really like putting this guy through the ringer. Yeah. But at the same time, like, who else on planet Earth is getting these reps?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, he brings you in on our drills, or you practice before or after. Like, how many times have I said on the show, like, up-and-coming players should just come watch practice, shag balls, be around, listen. If you're near Jose Loiola, he's going to ask your opinion. He's going to teach. He's going to be like, hey, you, what's your name?
Yeah.
Hey, you see what they're doing right here? Like, he literally
That's how he is.
He just has to do that.
Yeah.
But nobody's done it. But, like, Tim was at practice every day, before or after. You know, you're doing your own practice, but then you're kind of, like, either warming up during our practice or cooling down or jumping in.
Yeah, he'd have me come early sometimes.
Yeah,
jump in.
or you're, like, filling in and being that guy for us that we needed is like to get the extra reps. And so for us, it was like, all right, first of all, he's getting better at us than in all the drills. Like you're technically, you've been doing these things for so years. And you've been with Jose longer than us.
Yeah.
That like you're doing the drills better technically. I mean, that's not hard to do technically better than Trevor. But like we're like, all right, well, if we can just do it like Tim here, then we're gonna be pretty good. And then so for us, it was like a matter of time. It's like, all right, when's he gonna like get that like confidence to like play with the big dogs? And that's what Jose, I think, was trying to
for sure
pull at all those years. And then this year it was like Fort Lauderdale. I remember I was sitting with your dad watching.
Really?
And he's like, we're almost there. It's like he's just got to break through that a little bit. That it's like that little FU or like I'm here kind of thing. And then Atlanta, it was like boom, Timmy's here. Yeah. And then it was really cool watching in, was it Chicago? Yeah, the last Chicago against the Taylors where you guys ended up losing, but like it was like this is a big point. Oh, he's fine. Like he's good. He's comfortable in this moment, ready to be here like Tim's here.
Yeah, that's cool that you saw that because I definitely felt that. Like from Fort Lauderdale to Chicago, like the nerves and like how I felt being there. Yeah. Like I stepped on the court against Kim and Theo and the Taylors. Like we can win this.
Yeah, let's
like,
go.
Yeah, like not like this is a really good team. Like might be tough. Like let's win this. You know, which was really cool because I mean these are guys I've looked up to for years that I've been watching. Like when I watched video when I was younger, like it was these guys that I'm playing against. So it's been pretty cool to like be able to just hang with them and know that I can beat them on any given day.
It's not like something that you can just want and do either. It's something you have to like earn and you're just experiencing. Like you're either comfortable or you're not. Yeah. But like you putting yourself out there every day, being around it, going through the Jose ringer every day, like that's what earned it. It was the experiences that got you there. And there's other guys, so many guys that just get caught in the, I qualified once, and then they just disappear or they stay there forever kind of in that that in-between zone. They just don't have that. They haven't just been in the ringer and they're not ready for that moment. Jose's the best, and like I love the guy, and I would like there were times I'd be so pissed after practice. Sure. Well,
like,
half the stuff doesn't make sense sometimes. And then you're like, well, you're Jose Loiola, so like, is it me or is this not making sense or like what is going on?
And he would like completely like change drills in the middle of a drill just to like make it worse for me.
What's this drill called? It's called you lose.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called I need to hype myself up today. I'm just gonna swat you with the boogie board.
The boogie board was the worst. He would just like he'd bring out the boogie board. He's like, I won't go too high, don't worry. And he's jumping with the boogie board, swatting your high line that you're hitting like 12 feet over the antenna. You're like, great. It's another one of these days.
Get out of here. And he's like serious. Yeah. Like, dude, you have a boogie board in your hand and you're standing. Like,
and then you finally get it over him and he's like, it's too high. They run that down every time. I'm like, Jose, this is like over Oleg.
Yeah, I mean, so worth it, you know. Yeah. Like, he got me ready for all this, and I give him so much credit for like how far I've gone since I was 15. Like I've learned so much from the guy. And I think he's like an amazing coach, and the way he runs practice is incredible.
Yeah, he's been huge in just the development. Like now, years in, the development of young players as a whole over the years. Like so many, he's kind of had a hand in so many players' careers.
Yeah, Sarah and Kelly, he was like their first coach out of college.
Like you and Sarah were like with him for like. A long time, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes she and I would just practice together. Like when she was going through partner stuff and I was young and I didn't have like a full-time partner, like we'd practice together, or he'd have me come play against Sarah and Kelly or Sarah and Emily.
Those reps for you. I like to practice with girls a lot because they're just more fundamentally sound and more sane usually than us.
And the passing on the women's net's the best.
And passing,
and running down shots. Control.
Yeah, I have like 3 practices next week with girls.
Really?
Because all the women are in the Maldives. To anyone looking for training, I was like, I will gladly go. Because a lot of the guys are gone too. Yeah. I was like, I just need a lot of fast ball control. That's the best way to get back.
In terms of like getting reps, it's probably better to go with the girls. Super valuable. If you're doing above the net stuff, okay.
Yeah, it gets a little iffy. But like I did that with the UCLA girls too. Yeah. You know, I was a practice player for the UCLA girls for like 2-3 years. And I thought it was super helpful. Yeah. Just you get so many touches and.
Totally.
And I feel like there's something about even like developing like contacts on a low net when like it took me a long time to be able to jump decent. I mean, I'm not like a crazy jumper or anything, but it took me a long time to get any form of jump. And so I think like something about just like finding that hand contact until my physicality came was big.
Yeah, for sure. Because then you get the physicality and you're like, oh.
Now I can hit a ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like your physicality came like all at once this year. I mean, because you had like a good snap. You had these good like gnarly little like, I don't know how your wrist is like an owl.
It's because you were trying to hit like Jose or whatever. You were trying to hit shots that are really like a cut hit, but like with pace and without it having any trajectory, just or
like not
curve.
loopy. Yeah.
But I'm like, you're not getting up that high. Like that's a hard. And then you're getting so frustrated with yourself. Like I gotta hit it. I'm like, for you, the window is like this big right now, Tim. Like. And you're getting so frustrated at yourself. Whereas, like, for me, like, up a foot or two higher at that point, I was like, I can hit that all day because I got plenty of space to hit it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it worked out now that you're getting more physical.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm 22, and so I think just, like, every year, hopefully, I can keep getting more and more physical. But, I mean, I've had some really great trainers over the years that have helped a ton. I still work with Christian who was the old USA trainer, and he's been huge. Yeah. I think he does a great job. Yeah. Now he's up in Oregon, so our programs are remote.
Right.
But I think he's been huge in helping me get physical, like completely different take on lifting, in my opinion, than I've had. I've had people that are like, I mean, Anthony Darmiento I had as well.
Right.
And he and Christian, I think, are very similar in the way they operate. But I've had really old school trainers, and I've had like super new school trainers that don't touch weights. Yeah. And like the old school are just like on the machines going. Yeah. Which I was like, okay, great. But Christian has really, really helped me over the last 2 years.
What I liked about Christian is that I didn't work with him, but I came in. He kind of has that football background. Definitely seems like a football weight coach when you're with him. He's just screaming at you like a foot away.
Yeah.
Like, all right, guy.
Get it up. I'm
not a football guy. Like, you don't have to scream at me right now. But I love it. But he was really open-minded. You know, he came into it being like, and I could tell because I was the one that was in another gym with someone else, and he had no problem with it. Anthony was a little more like, all right, then do your own thing kind of thing. Whereas Christian's like, hey, like anything I can do to help, learn, like what are you guys doing? And I think from an outside, because I'm just in the gym a lot, from an outside perspective, I saw him kind of start building and adapting his style. Like every year that he was at USA, it became very different, a lot more, I think less, football kind of oriented, for sure. And more like flexibility, range, lengthening muscles, and using less weight to do more. Yeah. To not break down the athlete, but build them up in the gym more so. For
sure. And he was like super open-minded with me as well. Like if something was hurting, or if I didn't like an exercise, or if I like felt something at practice, or like over a few weeks, like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. I don't feel super fast in this movement or whatever. He'd be like really good at like adapting our programs to like find something that worked.
That's the biggest thing with a trainer. It's got to be able to adapt and like understand where you're at, even mentally. Yeah. Like, hey, I can't go another day of like being like suffering in the gym. Like I just can't suffer right now. I'm already like in a stressed out state, because sometimes you just have to like grind. Yeah. And then when you're like tired and like broken down emotionally, and then you're doing that work, you're like, I can't do it too. Yeah. It's just too much. So like even that kind of stuff, you'll see good trainers like know how to adapt workouts where you're leaving the gym like feeling like, okay, that was productive. Yeah. Like no matter where you're at. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. How is your body feeling? I think for a while, me and you were like kind of neck and neck for most tournaments played this year, but I think you've jumped me in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks have been gnarly. The body, it's holding up. I had like the body hit a really rough patch right before in Atlantic City, which was gnarly. My back completely went out the day before Atlantic City. I was like, all right, Kyle, find another partner. Like, I'm not getting out of bed. I was like in so much pain, and I ended up like getting it moving and whatever, and we took a third, and it was like, all right, body's back.
One of the best lessons I've learned when I was with Hayden, because I threw my back out a few times. Hayden and Mikkel, trainer, like, no, you're fine. Do this, do that,
Yeah.
heat it, ice it, stretch this, don't stretch that, take that. Boom, like, you get a good finish. I'm like, oh, okay, now I guess I've learned that I can play when my back feels like that. Whereas before it was like, of course I'm not going to play. Like, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, great lesson learned.
Yes.
Now next time you throw it
I think
out.
that gave me confidence, like, all right, if the body's not feeling great, like,
You can
whatever,
still play.
I can still play and perform.
If you need to, yeah.
Yeah. But since then, body's felt good. I'm surprised with how I felt this year, to be honest. I think Christian has helped me, like, nail in, like, lifting during season, which is something I'd never figured out up until this year.
Yeah, what is their thoughts on that?
So I've gone back and forth, but, like, how I've done it this year is I'll lift, like, once to twice a week in season, like tournament week, once to twice. When it's not a tournament week, I try and get 3 lifts in. Depending on how close the tournament is and, like, how many tournaments I've just played, I'll change it. But this season I played, 9 tournaments in 8 weeks, which was that that was the beginning of the Atlantic City stretch.
That was like, was that how? Because we did a bunch in a row.
This was after. This was just with Kyle.
So
you
did it twice.
So I did a 5-week block. I did a 5-week with you, and then I did an 8-week, 9 tournaments in 8 weeks with Kyle.
Yeah.
And during that block, I was lifting twice a week, every week. Mondays were kind of tough lifts, like RDLs and just, like, something that would actually make me a little sore, but that the soreness would be gone by the tournament.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday would be, like, a lighter lift. And then Thursday, depended when the tournament started, but Thursday or Friday, day before the tournament, I would do a, like, just activation, quick, like, 45-minute lift. And then as the season's gone on, that quick activation lift has gotten lighter and lighter. But when I've had blocks at home mid-season, like 2 weeks at home, I've tried to just, like, push it in the gym and then taper off the week of / end of the week before.
Yeah.
But I do think what I found with my body is that the more I can be lifting in season, nothing heavy, but just the more I can be working out, the better I feel.
Yeah.
There's, like, definitely an aspect of, like, being too tired and overdoing it.
Yeah.
And I think parts of this year I overdid it and was, like, too sore for a tournament.
Yeah.
Manhattan Beach, great example. But yeah, for the most part, I think for me in the past, I haven't really lifted much during season, and I think my body suffered because of it.
Totally.
And so, like, joints and everything this year have felt the best that they felt, and I've played the most volleyball I've ever played this year. So I think I'm kind of finding what works for me.
I'm learning more and more too, like, especially looking at or watching and listening to the older players, the guys who are starting to retire. They started lifting more and more and more as they got. It was like what was keeping them on the court, and that's something I learned huge from Hayden back in the day. But I think there's a lot of players out there that are a little too close-minded to push that threshold. Like what you said this year, like I went past that point, and it was a point of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
But you can only know that if you, like, start. You only know where that limit is if you do that. You know, if you don't keep pushing, you kind of miss that last 5-10% of whatever it is that you're trying to gain, I think. And I see a lot of athletes out there that miss it because they're kind of closed-minded about their approach, and they're just kind of like, no, this is how I do it, and of course I'm not going to lift, or, you know, these other athletes don't do that, and it's like, okay.
Right.
You got to adapt, and at this point, it's like there's data based on other athletes, and just talk to the most experienced athletes we have. They're all, like, fully sold on this concept now of, like, lift in season.
Yeah.
But not everyone's there.
Yeah. What's cool about you is that you figured out all of this at an age when most guys in the USA, like, competing for the USA, aren't even playing beach yet. Like, you're 22, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you and Miles Partain are the two youngest guys on the AVP and starting to get in the USA system, and it's not even close. Like, I mean, Taylor Craft's the next thing.
And you're probably the two most dialed in terms of, like, routines and, like...
Yeah.
you know, I was kind of that guy because I like was willing to like copy everything Hayden did when I first came out. So like people kind of looked at me like that, but I think you guys have taken it to another level.
Miles is really good with that stuff too, like all the like off the court stuff.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, I mean that's always been a focus of mine, like being really like diligent with everything off the court, just because I'm not naturally the most gifted player out there. I don't think physically,
right. Nope.
I'm nothing special. I'm short, right? So like I feel like I'm only 6 feet tall, right? I have long arms, but I just feel like for me to like be successful, I need to be super diligent off the court in everything I do, like whether it's like eating or how I am in the gym or like studying for certain things. I just think like that's where I try and set myself apart. Like maybe I can't out physical some of these guys, but I can like outthink and outwork.
Yeah.
And so that's really been like my thing. It's just like nailing everything that I can control off the court so I can be successful on the court.
Yeah.
Which I think is huge. I think it's a huge part of the game.
Oh,
for sure.
It's I do think it gets overlooked a lot.
When the physicality catches up with players like that, like you're saying, you're starting to grow a little, jump a little higher, all that. Now look at your game. Miles Partain's like one of those guys who has all that, but he's even more physical. Like how tall is he? 6'4"?
6'4", but I think he's
and like we saw him with his shirt out for the first time. That everyone wanted to make a big deal. I was looking too. I was like, damn, this kid like he's built.
Miles
like,
grew early too.
You don't know. Is he wearing a shirt all the time because he's soft, or sometimes that's usually why guys won't take their shirts off. Casey, Theo. But yeah, when you put that kind of stuff together and then people grow into their bodies, it's like it starts to become a problem for others.
And I actually have a fact that I wanted to read for you today.
Okay.
We brought it up during the Kyle podcast, but I wanted to read it. We called you a Chinese bamboo tree.
Oh, God, yeah.
So a Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. It has to be watered and fertilized in the ground with Jose Loiola specifically. It has been planted every day. It doesn't break through the ground for 5 years, but after 5 years, once it breaks through the ground, it'll grow 90 feet in 5 weeks.
That's pretty cool.
Which I think is the story of your season.
I like that. No, I think that's great. I love that.
Bamboo Brewster.
Timmy Bambooster.
Another nickname.
Bambooster.
Another nickname. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Too many nicknames at this point.
Tom Brady was, I think, my favorite.
We've also prepped you for the heckling and the dialogue part of the tour while being on that court.
Leandro and Trevor combined is a tough combo. I've had a lot of names thrown at me. Yeah, a lot of Brewster jokes.
Yeah, we can go all day.
We could go all day with nicknames.
Brewster Lee. What was Leandro's favorite? Brewster Springsteen.
Yes, he loves that one. Brewster Wayne. Tim Holland.
Trevor likes Brewster Jenner.
Yeah, Trevor loves that one.
They'll keep coming, but now we get the bamboo in there.
Yeah.
Bambooster. I like it. I'll take it.
It's not a bad one.
But I think you're such a great example of someone who you just like, you put in the work and like you're getting like little success, and then bam, like this year you just took off.
I appreciate that.
And I don't think it was a surprise to anyone who had like seen the work you were putting in. Like I was not super shocked by it. Like I don't think you or Trevor or Jose. I think Jose probably takes a lot of pride in it. He's just like, I've been trying to tell everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I would never tell him.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've been telling everyone else.
Timmy sucked for
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. But telling everyone else, watch this guy.
Yeah, it's been a really cool year, and I mean there were times like over the years I've been super frustrated, and like everyone's like my parents are like, you're young, like you'll get there, like don't worry, and that's really annoying to hear.
For sure,
and Loiola said that to me all the time. Brewster, you're young. Yeah. Young Brewster. He used to call me Young Brewster, and I get so frustrated by it, and so it's been really like great this season, and like to just like feel it kind of come together. Yeah. And I mean, there's so much room to grow and like so much more that I want to do, and like, but this has been just a great like first step, I guess. Yeah. And being like, all right, like I've had some success now, like let's see where I can take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a fun year. It's been just a lot of fun.
It's funny that you called it a first step, because I feel like you're kind of an embodiment of the saying, you know, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Right.
You know, and you think this is your first step, but I think this is
first step above ground, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Broke through,
True.
got some air.
True.
Yeah. So I mean, really, I think it's just like your 50th step, but now the first one
Yeah.
that really the public eye can see.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you think was the difference between 2021 Tim and 2022, because I think physically there's only so much that can change. It's not like you were passing that much better, digging that much better. Like, you were always a phenomenal defender. I mean, in my mind, it had to have been more mental, but I don't know what your thought would be.
I think there's two things maybe.
Yeah.
Mental for sure. But I think that came after, like, the other one, which for me is Kyle.
Yeah.
Straight up Kyle.
Yeah.
I owe that guy a ton. He's like an incredible partner, but I think we found a fit.
Yeah.
And like that's something that's tough in this sport, is you can put two people together that are great players, but they don't work. And I've had a lot of partners over the years, and I've, like, at times I felt like, okay, I have something, but I've never been able to take it to the next level.
Right.
And like when I was playing with you, like I thought like we were a great fit.
Yeah.
The whole left side Tim was tragic. Like if one of us was a righty, something maybe is different there.
Yeah.
But like with Kyle, I think I found that just like initial fit.
Yeah.
That we worked really well together. We got along really well on and off the court. We get along really well, which is super helpful.
Yeah.
And he's just, the way he thinks about the game and the way he's just kind of given me permission to just learn things and do what I want has been super freeing. Like, not having to worry, like, stepping on the court with someone, like, about, like, all right, well, if I hit this high line out, like, what are they going to think?
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like, shoot, like, I blew this lead, I'm going to get dumped.
Right,
like, having, like, knowing that that's not the case with Kyle, and,
Totally.
like, that we're committed as a team.
Right.
And I mean, it's helped that we've been successful, right?
Yeah.
Like, that'll help any partnership out.
Yeah.
But he's just been super cool about, like, helping me, like, learn and, like, being supportive of me. And so I think that's probably the biggest difference, is, like, that fit with Kyle.
Yeah.
And he's just given me confidence, right? Like,
Totally.
letting me do things. He and April
Yeah,
also. April's
make errors.
helped.
Like, you know, we can lose. You can make errors.
Yeah.
You're gonna make errors. You're not gonna play perfect. That kind of, like, confidence. I mean, at any level. For me with Trevor, like, you know, his demeanor. If you don't know him like I do, like I read him and his body language. I know what he's actually saying versus what it looks like.
Yeah.
But even for me, like we've had to have talks where it's like I got to know that I can make errors and make bonehead plays, because you know, you make a dumb play and he's just like, oh my god, what are you freaking idiot? Like, I know you well enough to, like, get past it, but like I also need you to, like, allow me to make these dumb errors, because it's just me. Like, if I'm making one really bonehead play a match, I'm usually playing pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
It's like a good thing. I literally said that to Jake before I played in the Olympics. It's like, hey, let me make a stupid play once a match. Okay, just let it go. And then I did
cool.
one, and I was like, that was it. And he's like, okay.
That's awesome.
But my point is, like, that kind of never ends.
Yeah.
Like, you always got to find that with your your teammate. And with Kyle, we talked about it on his episode. He's like, to me at least, because I've literally known him since, we were 15, 16s, playing on the indoor youth national team. And we were the same player. We were both the bench guy, you know, OH2. He's, like, sneakily got all this experience that people don't really know about. Like, I wouldn't step on a big stage. Like, right now, I could step on a big stage with Kyle and be like, we're good. Like, he's fine. I don't have to, like, explain it to him, like, hey, man, you haven't been here before. And, like, but I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
Based on his beach resume up until now, where he's starting to have success. So, like, for you to be with him and where he can be like, I've been here, bro. Like, we're good. I know what we're doing. I'm not scared of Try or Trevor. Like, these guys don't scare me at all. And then also his game is built to, I feel like he's small. That's why he kind of, like, assumed, like, he's smaller for a blocker. He's like, I guess I should play defense.
Yes.
But really, he's just like a, kind of like me, like, we take pride in there's no skill that we can't do.
Yeah.
So, like,
he
runs
everything.
to the net. It's not like, oh, God, small guy up here. Like, no, he plays big at the net. And he knows how to put his hands where the ball's going and do all the right things. So, yeah, match made in heaven. And then he's, like, the nicest guy ever, too. So to, like, support, like, a up-and-coming player who's trying to make that step is, like, perfect.
Yeah, and, like, we are running a completely different offense that I've never run before. We're running a ton of, like, cool plays, and which is something I really hadn't done before. We tried it, but left side Tim, not great.
Well, for the record, I was on the right for a reason. My left side gave me
Right.
Well, we tried it the other way. And it didn't really work. So the day before we played the
Andy and
literally
Billy.
2 days before.
Yeah.
2 days before we played Andy and Billy, right?
Yeah.
In the country quota for the 4-star in Brazil, I was like, let's change this up. Like, we're not doing so hot.
That's his nice way of saying it, Travis.
Yeah, that was terrible on the left.
It wasn't working.
It wasn't. And so we tried it, and we're like, maybe.
Yeah.
And we ended up like playing well, and it kind of worked.
Yeah.
But my range on the left side was different. Like, I'd run a ton of back sets, but like it's just
It's
the
different.
vision's different.
Yeah.
Like everything's weird, especially as a lefty.
Yeah.
Like we're put into a really small box if you have to play right side.
Yeah.
So it's not like I had previous experience like a tournament here, a tournament there, playing
Yeah.
left. Like
It's
as lefties, we just don't do that.
It's good though to like have little stints like that where you have to go to the other
Yeah.
side, because then when it happens, you're still very comfortable. You're like, been here. This is familiar.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to feel perfect because it's still my offside, but it feels familiar or
Yeah.
good.
And it was funny because when we played you guys in Atlantic City and where was the other one? Virginia Beach. Every time you were on the left, it's like, oh, he's gotten pretty good at this. Like, shoot.
Yeah, we had some good games this year.
We did.
Yeah.
The 29-27er was the longest set, or maybe 27-25.
Which one was?
Virginia?
Oh, the second set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
marathon.
That was a marathon.
That was the longest set I'd ever played until Laguna.
Oh, really?
30-28 in the third set with D. Lee and John
Oh,
Cook.
wow.
Yeah.
That's a long one.
Yeah. We had some fun battles, though.
We did. Yeah. You guys played really well in Virginia.
Yeah.
That was a good tournament for you guys.
Yeah.
I was so pissed when we lost to you. Oh my god. That was because
It's a long road back.
long road back. Those tour series losers brackets are so gnarly. When you can avoid them. But like that was so Kyle and I had one bad stretch this year. Started with Manhattan. We had done really well up and through Seaside, qualified for every tournament that we had wanted to qualify for, and then Manhattan, I played the worst volleyball I've played all year. I was really nervous because it was Manhattan. This was when my nerves came back, and I was like really nervous.
Yeah.
It's like I had so many people there to watch. It was my first MBO. I'd always wanted to play an MBO.
Yep.
And I just...
It's like your home beach.
Exactly, yeah. I live a mile from there, so
right.
it was like, all right, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
let's do something cool here.
You overhyped it probably.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then it was also my first week of law school, and I was like bouncing around.
Okay, that's just insane. Like, without being a volleyball player, I'd be freaking out trying to do law school.
Yeah.
April coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that
April
was the
Ross
other
is in your
thing.
box.
Yeah, we had
coming off a gold medal last year.
we had practiced with her like twice, and like April's somebody that I like am in awe of.
Yeah.
Like I've looked up to her for a long time, and
we
so it
all
was
are.
like
Yeah.
kind of crazy to have her in the box. There were like a lot of factors that made me really like not in a great headspace for that
Yeah,
tournament.
right.
And so I played bad, played real bad, and then we got to Virginia the week after. And we almost lost in the first round. We had a 3-setter against, second round. We had a bye,
Yeah.
and then we played Tyler Penberthy and
And Carlos?
No,
No,
it
it was
was
Frank Field.
yeah. And we went to 3, and we played so bad. And I got hit in the face the hardest I've ever gotten hit in the face. Frank cut my nose, like full gash, like puffed up. And so and then we lost to you guys right after that. And I was like, oh God, we're going down. Like Kyle and I was like, uh-oh. And so Kyle and I had a talk that night. We're like, we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. We've had a really good season. And then the last like week and a half has not been our best. Like,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
And so we went out the next day and we like played awesome.
You played a lot.
Nice.
We played a lot, but we played really well.
Right.
And we got through it. And then since then we've been back to where we were. But yeah, we had this like small little dip mid-season, and I think it was good for us. We needed to see that, and we needed to see that we could get through it.
I don't think I've ever had a season where it didn't have a dip in it.
Yeah.
It's like
It was like
pretty par for the
yeah.
course.
Yeah.
I feel like it was scary for me because I'd finally having success for the
Right.
first time, and I was like, it's gone.
Yeah, your brain always goes to like the worst case scenario.
For sure,
Like, oh
for
God,
sure.
now this is it. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna have to retire after that. Like the beginning of this year,
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, I guess I'm not a top team anymore.
I'm glad I got into law school.
Yeah, I was
I'm like,
oh,
well, shoot,
law
I'm not good.
school's
I can't do
looking
law
pretty
school.
good.
I'm too dumb for that. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, I was like, law school's looking great right now. But yeah, it was it was cool to see that we could kind of get through that, you know,
Yeah.
like, and then start playing well again.
Did you any specific stuff you took away from having April in the box?
Yeah.
Like stuff she said.
Yeah, and we've had her at practice a few times.
The knowledge, bro.
we've had her at practice a few times.
Actually, we can do it off air so our opponents don't hear.
Yeah.
If it's that good.
I mean, the main thing that she's like worked with me on is like vision. Like as a younger player, I feel like vision's something that kind of comes with time.
Yeah.
And that's what she was saying. She's like, vision comes with time. Like it took me a long time to have great vision.
Right.
And that's something else that Kyle has that is I'd put his vision against almost anybody on tour, especially in the U.S. I think the things that Kyle can see and how he takes a look is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Like, even I feel like when he's like in a side out rut, like he'll just take a look and be like, all right,
Yeah.
like, I see you.
Right.
And it's pretty cool. And so that's something that they've both been like really helpful with me on is vision. But yeah, April had a few moments like in the box, like, hey, I want to see a jump serve right now. Like randomly, and I was like, oh, all right, like I'll go for the jump serve, and like would get a play out of it, or she would just like she was trying to be hands off with us because we hadn't worked with her a ton.
Yeah, there's just so much to take on.
Exactly.
All at once.
Yeah.
Like playing in that event with her in the box. Just what is it? Your like third main draw or whatever.
Second.
Third.
Yeah, third.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to be practicing anything during competition.
Exactly.
And you're like trying to practice stuff, learn new things, and be in a high pressure situation all at once.
But I think the biggest thing that she kind of talked to Kyle and I about in Manhattan was like, hey, like you guys are holding on to points a little too long. Like points that we'd lose. Like we'd have a crazy rally and it would be like, oh God.
Right.
Heads drop, like walking back, like thinking about it on the next play, making an error. She's like, hey, like cut that out. It's like, I don't want to see that. I want you guys to like, to move on between points, and a point's a point.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter. The next one's just as valuable as the one before it. So I think that was probably the biggest thing that she helped us with in the box was just like, hey, move on. Because, like, technically and, like, strategically speaking, she was try and let us kind of do our thing, I think, just because we hadn't worked with her a ton. Right. And now that we've worked with her more and more, she's, like, definitely starting to help us.
So she continued to come out? And
yeah, we've had her probably like 5 or 6, 7 practices.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think going forward,
that's another Kyle Friend card right there.
No
one else is going to get her out there.
Yeah, but yeah, no, April's been super helpful. I think her brain is pretty cool, and it's really fun to pick it at practice.
For sure.
Because April's another one of those players that has crazy vision, and that's just something that's like a project of mine over the next like year that I want to like really work on is like developing better vision. And they've already helped me a ton. So, but yeah.
I honestly never work on vision much. I remember hearing, who was it? Katie Spieler said that Todd Rogers told her that he worked on vision all the time and had all these drills. I was like, should I be doing that? Like I'll work on taking looks sometimes. Like Leandra wants me to take more looks in certain situations, but like I never mastered like the look while you're hitting thing. I just have like just done it so much. I have a sense of where the block is and the timing, you know, the thing we all have. But honestly, I could use so much work with, if there's more to gain, like some secret look that you can do, I need to work on that.
Kent was cracking me up the other day because he'll go back and watch the matches that I put on YouTube.
Oh god!
And he'll.
Okay, we need to have a film session with that guy. By the way, yeah.
He's very.
He's just gonna break. Yeah, he's gonna break our names down.
He's like, first thing, you're a terrible blocker. Just go to defense. He says it every time.
Not even gonna try to fix it. But he also says he's a terrible blocker, right?
Yeah, but he was like, you're looking at the ball while you're hitting. You shouldn't do that. I was like, what? What do you want me to look at? He's like, well, the defense.
What?
He's like, you might miss a few times. Practice it. Look at the defense while you're hitting the ball. It's like, I might have to practice this a lot before I try this in a game.
That's gnarly.
But it's hard to argue against a guy who won like 52% of his tournaments.
If you went out there and you only did that, right? Like obviously you're going to be peripherally looking at the ball. You can't just blindly go and swing at air. But you got to think over time you're going to develop really good vision, right?
Yeah, because that's what I told him. He's like, how do you see the court?
But I look at it.
Well, I
use
the peripherals. And he goes, well, why don't you use your peripherals to see the ball and the rest? And
that's cool.
It's like, wow, that's hard though. He's like, well, of course it's hard. Being very good is a hard thing to do.
Right.
I like that though. That's cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
I've always I've played with peripheral a ton.
Yeah, the game's definitely. I think everything's in my peripheral though when I'm playing. So it's ball, game. I'm not looking at either of them.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it all
Just
as
like
a
a
I'd
whole
probably
focus.
say
as
yeah.
it moves.
Uh-huh.
Right. That's kind of. Nobody stares at the ball either. Really.
No.
You're always kind of.
Some-
That's why
I
when
mean,
you
there's
get
some-
under it, you lose that peripheral of the game. I don't know. Maybe.
Something to play around with in the off season.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
So, volleyball by Kent and April right there.
Yeah.
There's worse people to learn from.
Exactly.
What's
Yeah.
you've had a big season. So
Yes.
what do you have going on to the rest of the year?
We have we're playing, so our next tournament is Norseca Automayor in the
Okay.
Dominican Republic.
You're going?
Yeah, we are.
I don't think you go,
We're going.
especially after 2 golds.
Make it 3, why not,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
Might as well
Heck
get
yeah.
3 finishes.
Yeah.
Because Kyle still needs a 3rd finish,
Oh my gosh!
right?
I forgot
We only
you
have
haven't
Kyle only
played
has
anything.
2 finishes, and it's
Okay.
these 2 Norsecas we just won. So we're playing that one. We were trying to play Dubai, but we didn't get in.
Okay.
I thought maybe closer to reserve list, you know how it works with challenges, but this one's not dropping, which is
No.
kind of crazy. So we still wouldn't be in. So we dropped out of Dubai and Oman. We're playing Automayor and probably Cayman. We're
Are you skipping Huntington?
TBD.
Okay.
We haven't made up our minds yet. But leaning that, I don't know, really. So we'll play Automayor, then we'll play something the next weekend. And then Cairo, we'll have enough points to get into. So that'll be our challenge. Australia's a maybe not the weekend after
So you
Cairo.
miss Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Australia Thanksgiving would be pretty fun.
it would be fun. And it's in Melbourne too, which I've heard is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wait, do they do Thanksgiving down there? They
no.
don't, right? Isn't that an American thing?
That's
I know
American.
that's a dumb
That's us.
thing to say.
I feel like there's
everyone-
Canadian Thanksgiving
Yeah.
was this week.
Oh,
when
okay,
we were in
gotcha.
Nicaragua.
Everyone kind of has their
Yeah.
own. Yeah.
It's about the Pilgrims and Indians, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's our
Original- right. It's
our
ours.
version of Thanksgiving is our thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So that might happen, that might not, I don't know. And then the week after that is Orlando, final AVP,
Yeah.
and then that'll be it for us. So we have anywhere from 3 to 5, 6 more tournaments this year,
Yeah.
and then shut it down come December 4th, last day of season.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have the date.
And our
Yes.
first one was in February.
Sounds like you're
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
I mean, you always are ready for a break. Hi, Naya. Yeah, you're always ready for a break,
Yeah.
Season's tough. It's a lot of ups and downs with nerves / adrenaline,
Yeah.
tournaments are just tiring as a
Yeah.
whole, but I've had so much fun this year. I don't really want it to end.
Yeah.
It's just it's been a blast, but it's looking like off season's going to be pretty short.
Yeah. That schedule, they flip it around real
They
fast.
flip it around real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm excited for off season and to work on the things that I want to work on that I haven't gotten the chance to work on during season, because it's just kind of impossible to make
Yeah.
big changes in your game in the middle of a season.
How long do you see the break being after that December 4th mark before you start working on more
New
stuff?
things. I'll probably take the rest of December off,
Gotcha.
and then come January 1st, I think my goal is to be back on the court.
I thought you were going to say, I'll take the rest of that week off.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't put it past you.
I'm not that young anymore.
Partain might do that.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I've definitely found that time off is needed
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. You can't, with the amount of tournaments we've been playing, you can't just keep it rolling.
No,
So,
for sure.
it'll be more like 3 weeks off the court. I'll keep lifting. That'll be my first probably 3 weeks of off season, getting into some slower lifting, some heavier things, some isos, that kind of thing, just to build some strength back that I
Yeah.
lost during the season. Season. Still another month and a half of this season to go. So I haven't really thought about off season much at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Sweet.
Just kind of.
hell, career year. Keep it going.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, keep it going as long as
Stuff.
as long as I can. We'll
It
see.
never ends.
Yeah.
Never ends.
Try to get some sleep. You're due.
I'm due
Yeah.
for some sleep. Crazy travel day yesterday in a midterm, and I needed some sleep. So
Yeah.
Got a good 10 hours last night, so that helps.
there you
Which
go.
is, for me, is a lot.
That's big for you.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot for me.
Nice.
Well, awesome, man.
Right
Good
on,
catching
Tim.
up. Good to see you again.
Thank you guys. I
And congrats
appreciate it.
on the back-to-back golds.
Thank you.
Amongst many other
Thank
things,
you.
amongst an awesome season.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Congrats, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Take
Thank
it easy.
you.
Tom Brady, Tim Brewster, Brewster Wayne, Brewster Jenner.
Bam Booster.
Bam Booster. Pleasure having you.
Thanks, guys.
Shoots.
Shoots.
Shoots us.
Shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.